Thank you, Gilda. And I'd like to give the floor to Alessio Candi, Consulting and M&A Director of Panbianco, who will give us an overview on the main economic trends of the sector. As you know, in the last 2-3 years, a lot of changes have occurred. Alessio? Thank you, David. Good morning, everybody. I would like to deliver a very short presentation just to give you an overview of the main topics that will be then tackled by the entrepreneurs. I would like to thank Till for the market data. In 2020, there was a decrease in the market of 6.4%. So the data is much better than what we expected at the beginning of the pandemic. So we're talking about $507 billion after an increase with a compound rate of 3.4% in the past 10 years. As far as the geographical areas are concerned, there was a decrease, especially in the Asia-Pacific region, with a decrease of 7% and accounts for 42% of the general market. And now a hot topic, e-commerce, that will be further tackled during this day. And I would like to thank Sil once again for the market data. This is the e-commerce share in Europe, which has nearly doubled in the last 2 years from 2018, from 4.9% to 8.5%. These are not incredibly high figures. In the UK, figures are much higher. So Italy was lagging behind, is still lagging behind, but from it has nearly doubled its presence since 2018. At the global level, players like Wayfair, Williams-Sonoma, IKEA, and Westwing, we can see that Wayfair went from $9.1 billion to $14.1 billion in 2020, with an increase of 55% totally online, from 3.3 to 4.7 billion for Williams-Sonoma, and IKEA saw a decrease from 1.8% to 2.5%. And we asked companies for some previews of the financial statements of this year. And we see that there was a decrease in general of 4.7%. This is a very encouraging piece of data, because this is even better than the general data regarding the market. And we started to analyze the trends in the stock market, especially the design stocks. And we see a sample of 8 companies that in 2019 had a turnover of 2019 with an EBITDA of 12%. And we see very positive results. It doesn't even look like 2020 was the year of the pandemic. There was an increase of EBITDA of 15%. And if we take a look at the first quarter of 2021, we see an increase in turnover of 46% and an EBITDA which went from 15 to 10. So these were the trends of the stocks, and this sample capitalizes nearly $64 billion, and we took the average of the stocks from the 1st of January 2020 in the pre-pandemic period, and we saw a decrease of 30% in April when the pandemic was in full swing. And you see in June 2021, we see an increase of 600%. We see companies like Natuzzi, you can see here the increase which has occurred. Some of the main trends that are occurring. The first one is the increase in M&A, and these operations are going on. Design Holding, which has acquired the USA Wild Design, Italcer, which has acquired Equipe Ceramicas, and B Aurora and Clerici. And e-commerce is a hot topic. The digital sector is a must-have for all companies. Innovative ones and more traditional ones. So e-commerce is a must-have absolutely for everybody. What's next? What is happening and what are we expecting on the short term? So the crisis was not as terrible as we were expecting. We talked with you, and probably the crisis is over in the 2021. So the expectations for the short term are good, and the recovery will certainly be more positive for companies with stronger brands and sales networks. So there will be a polarization between the smaller enterprises and the larger enterprises. That's what we expect. The sector in 2020 was supported by smart working during the lockdown, and this led to the final consumer supporting sales in this year. And we think this is what is going to happen in the next years too, thanks to e-commerce. And then there will be a recovery for contract, which is slowly recovering with several projects. The 110 law will certainly support the recovery of the sector, albeit indirectly. Then the topic of the shortage in raw material. So the first future is on wood, and the second one is on aluminium. And you can see that prices have skyrocketed, and this has generated two main events: an increase in prices and the lengthening of the delivery times, so with bottlenecks in the supply chains. And we hope this is only a short-term consequence. And so 2020 was a year of crisis, but we're expecting a rise in the market sector from 10 to 15%. Thank you very much.